Commander Vex 9 adjusted his battle armor sensors for the fourth time this cycle, watching the holographic display flicker with incoming reports from across the galaxy. The Dominion's war machine was finally winning. After 300 years of grinding conflict against the stubborn Terran resistance, victory tasted sweeter than fermented Calaxian nectar. Status report: Lieutenant Zura, Vex 9 commanded, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The junior officer's scales rippled nervously. Sir, our final assault on Terra Prime was complete. No survivors detected. The human homeworld is nothing but ash and radiation now. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. The Galactic Dominion could finally expand into the resource-rich Sol system without those annoying bipeds causing trouble. Humans had been such a peculiar species, really. Not particularly strong, not especially intelligent by galactic standards, and certainly not technologically superior. Yet somehow, they'd managed to hold off the combined might of 17 alien civilizations for 3 centuries. Vex 9 dismissed the thought with a grunt. Ancient history now, the War Council chamber buzzed with activity as delegates from various member species celebrated their triumph. The insectoid Crothery clicked their approval, while the gaseous Etherians pulsed with satisfied colors. Even the usually stoic Granite Lords had allowed themselves a few rumbling chuckles. Attention, esteemed council members, announced High Admiral THYSS, her serpentine form coiled around the central podium. Today marks the end of the human rebellion. We can now proceed with Phase 7 of galactic expansion without further interruptions. Applause echoed through the chamber. Well, what passed for applause among species with tentacles, claws, and energy fields instead of hands? That's when the door exploded, not metaphorically. Literally exploded. A shower of metal fragments and sparks filled the air as something punched clean through the reinforced titanium steel composite like it was wet paper. The security alarms started shrieking immediately, adding their own delightful harmony to the chaos. Through the smoking hole stepped a figure that made every alien in the room freeze in absolute terror. It was human, not just any human either. This one was tall, probably around 2 meters, with dark skin and graying hair. She wore what appeared to be some kind of military uniform, though it looked like it had seen better decades. Scorch marks, tears, and suspicious stains covered the fabric. Her left arm was clearly mechanical, gleaming silver and humming with barely contained energy, but it was her eyes that really sold the whole harbinger of doom aesthetic. Cold, calculating, and filled with the kind of rage that could melt hull plating at 50 meters. Well, she said, her voice carrying that distinctly human accent that haunted Dominion nightmares. Looks like I'm interrupting something important. The chamber erupted into panic. Delegates scrambled for exits, security forces reached for weapons, and at least 3 different species began praying to their respective deities. Vex 9 himself felt his bladder threaten to empty, which would have been embarrassing under normal circumstances. Impossible, High Admiral THYSS hissed, her hood flaring wide. The humans are extinct. We confirmed it ourselves. The human woman laughed. Actually laughed, like someone had just told her the galaxy's funniest joke. Extinct? Oh, honey, you really don't know humans very well, do you? She walked further into the chamber, seemingly unconcerned by the dozens of weapons now trained on her. Her mechanical arm whirred softly as she flexed her fingers. Allow me to introduce myself, she continued conversationally. Colonel Maya Torres, Terran Defense Corps. Though I suppose my official rank is now, extremely pissed off survivor. Lieutenant Zura whispered urgently into his communicator. Security teams to level 7, immediately. We have a code red situation. Maya turned toward him with interest. Oh, calling for backup? That's adorable. Tell me, Lieutenant. Zura, is it? How many ships do you have in orbit right now? Why would I tell you that? Zura stammered. Because, Maya said, pulling what looked like a small device from her pocket, I'm about to show you why humans don't stay extinct. She pressed a button, every screen in the chamber flickered and changed, displaying the view outside the space station. Where moments before had been the reassuring sight of the Dominion's Victory fleet, there was now nothing. Well, not nothing exactly. More like expanding clouds of debris and the occasional escape pod fleeing for dear life. What did you do? Vex 9 found his voice, though it came out as more of a squeak. Maya smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. Me? I didn't do anything. But I should probably mention that reports of humanity's extinction were greatly exaggerated. The main display switched to show deep space sensor readings. Hundreds of contacts were approaching the system. No, not hundreds. Thousands. Ship signatures that registered as completely unknown to Dominion databases. You see, Maya continued, examining her fingernails with studied casualness, when you decided to glass our homeworld, you made one tiny miscalculation. You assumed that was where all the humans lived. High Admiral THYSS's scales were shifting to panic colors. Our intelligence indicated that Terra Prime held 90% of your population. Your intelligence was wrong, Maya said cheerfully. We've been seeding colony ships throughout the galaxy for the past 2 centuries. Funny thing about humans, we're really good at hiding when we need to. And we're even better at holding grudges. The approaching fleet was getting closer. Vex 9 could make out individual ship classes now, though none of them matched any known human designs. These vessels looked different. Sleeker, more organic somehow. And they were big. Really, really big. What do you want? THYSS demanded. Maya's expression went cold. What do we want? We want payback. We want justice. We want every single one of you to understand that you don't mess with humanity and walk away smiling. She gestured toward the screens showing the approaching fleet. Those ships out there? They're crewed by humans who've spent the last 50 years perfecting new ways to say hello to civilizations that think genocide is acceptable foreign policy. The chamber had gone completely silent except for the soft humming of Maya's mechanical arm and the increasingly frantic beeping of proximity alarms. But here's the thing, Maya continued, we're not monsters like you. We're giving you one chance. One opportunity to surrender peacefully and face trial for war crimes instead of immediate vaporization. Lieutenant Zura laughed nervously. You're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Even if those ships are real, the Dominion has fleets throughout the galaxy. This is suicide. Maya raised an eyebrow. Outnumbered? Kid, let me tell you something about human mathematics. When you kill our families, destroy our worlds, and try to wipe us from existence, the equation changes dramatically. The first wave of human ships entered visual range, and Vex 9 felt his heart skip several beats. These weren't the crude, boxy vessels humanity had used during the war. These ships looked like they'd been grown rather than built, with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to shift and flow like living metal. Behold, Maya announced with theatrical flair, the new Terran Collective. 300 years of careful planning, genetic engineering, and really, really advanced technology. Turns out, when you give humans a common enemy and plenty of time to prepare, we get creative. The lead ship was massive, easily the size of a small moon. As it moved closer, Vex 9 realized with growing horror that its hull appeared to be breathing. Biotechnology, Maya explained, following his gaze. Turns out human DNA plays very nicely with certain alien genetic sequences. We've had 3 centuries to experiment. High Admiral THYSS was backing away now, her serpentine form coiled tight with fear. This is impossible. Our scans of human space showed no advanced development. Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Maya replied. Misdirection, camouflage, and good old-fashioned human stubbornness. We let you think you were winning right up until the moment we decided to stop pretending. The massive bioship had moved into position directly above the space station. Through the transparent aluminum viewports, they could see its hull plates shifting and rearranging themselves. Weapon ports were opening, revealing technology that made Dominion plasma cannons look like children's toys. "So," Maya said, clasping her hands behind her back, "who wants to discuss surrender terms?" The silence in the council chamber stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Every alien delegate stared at Maya Torres as if she'd just announced her intention to eat their young for breakfast. Which, considering recent revelations about human capabilities, might not have been entirely outside the realm of possibility. Surrender terms? High Admiral THWSS finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "You cannot be serious." Maya tilted her head, that same unsettling smile playing across her lips. "Oh, I'm deadly serious. But let me sweeten the deal for you." She tapped her mechanical arm, and a holographic display materialized above her palm. The display showed star charts. Lots of them. Systems throughout Dominion space, each marked with pulsing red indicators. "These are human colony positions," Maya announced cheerfully. "Each one has been growing, developing, and preparing for this moment for the past 3 centuries. Every single red dot represents approximately 50 million very angry humans with very advanced technology and very long memories." Commander Vex, 9 counted the dots. His compound eyes weren't designed for mathematics, but even he could tell there were far too many. That's impossible. We monitored human expansion. We restricted your colonization efforts. You monitored the colonies we wanted you to see," Maya corrected. "Meanwhile, we were busy with something called deep space seeding. Funny thing about humans, we reproduce like crazy when we're properly motivated. And nothing motivates us quite like the threat of extinction." Lieutenant Zura was frantically working his communication console. "Admiral, I'm receiving reports from across the sector. Human ships are appearing everywhere. They're just materializing out of nowhere." Maya nodded approvingly. "Stealth technology. We borrowed some ideas from the Phantom Nebula species before you wiped them out. Turned out their cloaking methods worked beautifully when combined with human engineering." "Who knew?" The main display shifted to show multiple sectors simultaneously. Each one showed the same terrifying sight: massive human fleets dropping out of stealth, surrounding Dominion installations, and broadcasting surrender demands in 17 different languages. "This is magnificent," Maya continued, clearly enjoying herself. 300 years of careful planning, and it's all coming together like a beautiful, terrifying symphony of revenge." A new voice crackled through the communication system. Deep, authoritative, and unmistakably human. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the New Terran Collective. Dominion forces, you are surrounded and outgunned. Stand down immediately or face the consequences." High Admiral THWSS activated her own communicator with shaking appendages. "Admiral Morrison, I am High Admiral THWSS of the Galactic Dominion. We demand to know your intentions." The response came immediately. "Our intentions? That's simple, Admiral. We intend to demonstrate why genocide is generally considered a bad career choice." Maya laughed, the sound echoing through the chamber like broken glass. Jake always did have a flair for the dramatic. "You'd like him, Admiral. He's got this wonderful collection of Dominion war trophies. Skulls, mostly." The biotechnology ship above them was doing something new. Its hull was shifting, opening, revealing what looked like launch bays. But instead of fighters or shuttles, organic-looking pods were emerging. Hundreds of them. "Drop pods," Maya explained helpfully. "Each one carries a squad of enhanced human marines. We call them Reapers, though that might be a bit on the nose." Vex 9 watched in fascination and terror as the pod streaked toward the space station. "Enhanced how?" "Oh, you know. Genetic modifications, cybernetic implants, psychological conditioning, that sort of thing." We learned a lot from studying captured Dominion soldiers over the years. Turns out, you guys have some interesting biological features that work wonderfully when grafted onto human physiology. The first impacts shook the entire station. Emergency klaxons began wailing as hull breaches were detected throughout the lower levels. Security teams rushed toward the boarding zones, their weapons charging with desperate energy. Of course, Maya continued conversationally, the real beauty of the plan isn't the technology or the numbers. It's the timing. She gestured toward the holographic display, which now showed time stamps from across the galaxy. Right now, at this exact moment, every major Dominion installation is receiving the same message. Every fleet, every colony, every military installation. All of them learning simultaneously that humanity is very much alive and very much interested in having a conversation about war crimes. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the corridors outside the chamber. Heavy footsteps approached, along with what sounded suspiciously like alien screaming. The psychological impact alone is worth the price of admission, Maya mused. Imagine being told that the species you thought you'd exterminated has not only survived but has become something far more dangerous than you ever imagined. It really makes you reconsider your life choices, doesn't it? The chamber doors burst open, revealing a squad of armored figures that barely looked human anymore. They were taller, broader, with visible cybernetic enhancements and armor that seemed to pulse with its own internal light. Their helmets displayed no emotion, just cold, scanning sensors that swept the room like predatory eyes. "Ma'am," the lead figure reported in a voice that sounded like grinding metal, "the station is secure. Minimal resistance encountered." "Excellent work, Sergeant Kim," Maya replied. "Please escort our guests to the briefing room. I think it's time for a proper history lesson." As the enhanced Marines began herding the terrified alien delegates toward the exit, High Admiral HYSS made one last desperate attempt at negotiation. "Wait. Surely we can reach some kind of agreement. The Dominion is willing to discuss reparations, territorial concessions." Maya held up a hand, stopping the procession. "Reparations? Oh, that's rich. You glass our homeworld, murder billions of our people, and now you want to discuss reparations?" She walked closer to the serpentine admiral, her mechanical arm whirring softly. "Let me tell you what's going to happen, Admiral. You're going to stand trial for crimes against sentient life. Your entire command structure is going to face justice. And the Galactic Dominion as a political entity is going to cease to exist. You cannot simply dissolve a government that spans half the galaxy." THWSS protested. "Watch us," Maya replied cheerfully. "We've had 3 centuries to study your political structure, your military capabilities, your economic systems. We know exactly where to apply pressure to make the whole thing collapse like a house of cards in a hurricane." The holographic display changed again, showing economic projections, supply line analyses, and military deployment patterns. It was clear that humanity had indeed spent centuries preparing for this moment. "The beautiful thing about humans," Maya continued, "is that we're really good at learning from our mistakes. The mistake we made 300 years ago was trusting that other species would respect our right to exist. We won't make that mistake again." She turned toward the viewport, where more human ships continued to arrive. The fleet was now so large it blocked out entire sections of space. From now on, the galaxy operates under new management. Human management. And trust me, we have some very interesting ideas about how to run things. Lieutenant Zura found his voice one last time. "This is madness. You cannot police the entire galaxy." Maya's smile widened. "Can't we? We've already started. Every species that participated in the attempted genocide of humanity will face consequences. Every world that supported the Dominion war effort will be held accountable. And every leader who thought extinction was an acceptable solution to political problems will learn otherwise." The enhanced Marines resumed their escort duties, guiding the alien delegates toward an uncertain future. As they reached the doorway, Maya called out one final comment. "Oh, and Admiral THWSS. You might want to contact your remaining fleets and suggest they surrender quickly. My colleagues are a lot less interested in conversation than I am. Some of them are still quite upset about that whole murdering our families thing." As the chamber emptied, Maya stood alone among the smoking ruins of what had once been the most powerful governmental body in the galaxy. She activated her communicator. "Morrison, this is Torres. Phase 1 complete. The Dominion leadership is in custody. Acknowledged, Maya. Phase 2 is proceeding on schedule. Resistance is minimal across all sectors." Maya nodded, looking out at the vast human fleet surrounding the space station. 300 years of planning, preparation, and burning desire for justice had led to this moment. "You know what the funny thing is, Jake," she said into the communicator. "What's that? They actually thought they could make humanity extinct. As if we just quietly disappear and let them have the galaxy to themselves." Admiral Morrison's laughter crackled through the comm. "Clearly, they never studied human history very carefully. We have a tendency to bounce back from extinction events." Maya smiled, watching as the last Dominion ships in the system either surrendered or were efficiently destroyed by human forces. "Welcome to the new galactic order," she whispered to the stars. "Population, very much not extinct.